Imagine this. You're driving home after dinner with friends, and suddenly the streetlights look like hazy halos. The road signs blur, and you find yourself gripping the steering wheel tighter than you used to. Or maybe it's at home. Your favorite book feels harder to read, the words swimming on the page. Many seniors chalk this up to just getting older. But that's not the whole story. Hidden inside your eyes, tiny cells are crying out for nourishment they're no longer getting. The good news is that nature has already packed the solution into 4 simple dried fruits you may already have in your pantry. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Ageless Garden, where I share science-based ways to help you live stronger, longer, and with more joy. Tonight, I'll reveal why one of these fruits, perhaps the most surprising, holds a secret that could transform your night vision. When I think about the first dried fruit I want you to picture tonight, I think about a patient of mine named Harold. He was 74 when he first came to see me. A kind man with a quick smile, Harold had one frustration that weighed heavily on him. He could no longer see the stars at night. He told me that as a boy he used to lie on the grass and name constellations. But now, standing in his backyard, all he saw was a smudged sky, faint blurs where pinpricks of light used to shine. It wasn't that his passion had dimmed, it was his eyes. When we dug deeper, I explained that the cells in his retina, the ones that allow him to detect light and darkness, were struggling under the weight of oxidative stress. Free radicals, those unstable molecules that damage our tissues over time, had been attacking the delicate photoreceptor cells. And because Harold wasn't getting enough of the protective nutrients his eyes needed, his vision suffered most at night. That's where figs came in. Now, I know when most people hear figs, they think of a sweet little treat wrapped in pastry or dried fruit tossed into trail mix. But figs are one of nature's most overlooked medicines for the eyes. Inside those chewy little bites is a powerful cocktail of vitamin A, beta-carotene, and lutein, 3 nutrients your eyes crave. Vitamin A in particular plays a starring role in forming rhodopsin, a pigment in the retina that helps your eyes adjust to darkness. Without enough vitamin A, you simply can't transition from light to dark as smoothly. That's why so many older adults struggle with glare from oncoming headlights or trouble reading in a dim room. But figs don't stop there. They're rich in antioxidants like quercetin, rutin, and chlorogenic acid. Think of these antioxidants as a protective shield, rushing in to neutralize free radicals before they can cause more harm. Studies show that these compounds help preserve the integrity of photoreceptor cells, which are among the most vulnerable tissues in the human body. When those cells die, vision fades. When they're protected, vision is preserved. One aspect many people miss is circulation. For your eyes to heal and repair themselves overnight, they need a steady flow of nutrient-rich blood. Figs naturally support healthier blood vessels, improving circulation to those tiny capillaries in the retina. For Harold, this meant that not only was his eye tissue better nourished, but it also received more oxygen at night when he was resting. Here's a tip I often give my patients. Pair figs with a source of healthy fat, like a handful of walnuts or a little almond butter. Many of the antioxidants and carotenoids in figs are fat-soluble, meaning your body absorbs them better when they're eaten with fat. That's why Harold started enjoying a small bedtime ritual. 2 dried figs with a spoonful of almond butter. Within a few months, he noticed something remarkable. One evening, he walked outside, tilted his head to the sky, and smiled. The stars were back, not all at once, but enough that he felt the universe had opened its curtain again. He later told me it wasn't just about the stars. It was about regaining a piece of himself, a connection to wonder he thought had been stolen by age. The science supported what Harold experienced. Antioxidants protect, vitamin A restores, circulation improves, and the result is clearer night vision. Figs may be small, but for the aging eye, they can be a mighty ally. The second fruit I want to share with you tonight is one you may already know well: dates. Sweet, rich, and often enjoyed around holidays or tucked inside desserts. Dates hold a secret that goes far beyond their taste. For the aging eye, they're nothing short of a natural remedy that works on multiple levels. Let me tell you about Martha, a retired librarian who had spent her whole life surrounded by books. She loved nothing more than settling into her armchair with a good mystery novel. But over time, she noticed something troubling. Her eyes began to sting and burn whenever she read for more than a few minutes. They felt dry, scratchy, almost like sandpaper. It's cruel, she told me. All my life I've lived in stories, and now the pages feel like enemies. What Martha was experiencing is one of the most common complaints among seniors: dry eyes. It happens when the tear film, the delicate layer of fluid that keeps the surface of the eye moist, becomes unstable. Aging, medications, and inflammation all contribute. Without enough hydration and lubrication, the eyes struggle, especially during close work like reading. That's where dates shine. Unlike many fruits, dates have a unique ability to hydrate the body at a cellular level. They're rich in natural sugars, yes, but also packed with minerals like potassium and magnesium, which draw water into the cells and help regulate fluid balance. This isn't just good for your muscles and heart, it's essential for the thin layer of moisture protecting your cornea. When that layer is healthy, burning and stinging begin to fade. Dates are also loaded with lutein and zeaxanthin, two carotenoids that act like internal sunglasses. They filter harmful blue light from screens and sunlight, protecting the macula, the central part of the retina responsible for sharp vision. Research has shown that people who eat more lutein and zeaxanthin-rich foods have a lower risk of developing age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss in seniors. For Martha, this meant not only less irritation, but also long-term protection for the very part of her eyes she relied on most to read. Then there's vitamin B6, a nutrient dates provide in abundance. B6 is critical for nerve health, including the optic nerve that connects your eye to your brain. Without a strong, well-nourished optic nerve, even the sharpest images captured by your retina can't be transmitted clearly. It's like having a perfect camera lens attached to a frayed cable. The signal just doesn't make it through. When I suggested Martha try a simple evening ritual, 1 or 2 dates paired with a handful of pumpkin seeds, she was skeptical. But pumpkin seeds are rich in zinc, another mineral vital for vision, and together the combination created a powerhouse snack. Within weeks, she noticed the burning had lessened. Soon she could read her books again, without tears pooling in the corners of her eyes. Dates also have another hidden gift. They gently support the nervous system, calming stress in the evening. Their natural sugars release slowly, providing stable energy without a crash. That stability matters, because when blood sugar spikes and drops, vision often becomes blurry. By keeping blood sugar even, dates help your eyes maintain clarity through the night and into the morning. Martha now has a ritual she looks forward to: 2 dates, a few seeds, a glass of water, and then her favorite book. The pages are no longer an enemy. They've become, once again, a doorway back into her beloved worlds. When people think of raisins, they often picture those little red boxes from childhood lunchboxes, the kind you might have traded for a cookie. But let me tell you, raisins are not just a snack for kids. They are one of the most concentrated forms of nature's eye medicine, hiding in plain sight. I remember Eleanor, a seamstress in her late 70s. Her hands were steady, her patterns precise, and her quilts were admired by everyone in her church. But her evenings had become harder. She told me, "By the time the sun sets, I can barely thread my needle. The glare from the lamp turns the fabric into a blur." It wasn't that she had lost her skill, her eyes simply couldn't keep up with her passion. Raisins became part of her story. Why? Because these tiny dried grapes contain a remarkable mix of antioxidants: quercetin, resveratrol, and catechins. Think of them as firefighters rushing into a burning building. Oxidative stress, the slow fire inside aging eyes, threatens to damage cells beyond repair. These antioxidants help extinguish that fire, cooling inflammation and giving cells the chance to survive. But raisins go further. They also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, the same protective pigments we talked about with dates. These compounds concentrate in the macula, acting like natural filters that shield the retina from glare and harsh light. That's why Eleanor noticed, after several weeks of adding raisins to her evening snack, that she could sew again at night without that painful halo effect from her lamp. The glare wasn't gone completely, but it was manageable, and that was enough to bring her joy back to her quilting. There's another nutrient in raisins that doesn't get talked about nearly enough: boron. It's a trace mineral, meaning you don't need much, but its role is critical. Boron helps regulate how your body uses calcium and magnesium, two minerals essential for muscle and nerve function. And yes, that includes the tiny muscles of the eye that control focus. Without enough boron, those muscles fatigue quickly, leading to blurred or double vision. With it, the eyes can sustain their work longer. For Eleanor, this meant her eyes no longer felt exhausted halfway through a quilting session. Raisins also offer a surprising benefit for blood sugar stability. Many people assume that because raisins are sweet, they must cause spikes in blood sugar. But the natural fibers and phytonutrients inside them actually slow the release of sugar into the bloodstream. When your blood sugar remains steady overnight, your vision does too. You avoid that cloudy, blurry sensation that often accompanies blood sugar swings. I advised Eleanor to pair a small handful of raisins, about 2 tablespoons, with walnuts in the evening. Walnuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which nourish the retina and improve blood flow to the eyes. This simple combination became her evening quilting fuel. Within a month, she was back at her sewing machine after dinner, her stitches neat and confident again. She said, "It feels like I've stitched my independence back together, one square at a time." Science backs her experience. Studies have shown that diets rich in polyphenols, the compounds found abundantly in raisins, are linked with slower progression of age-related eye diseases. So when you snack on raisins, you're not just satisfying a craving, you're feeding your eyes exactly what they need to keep serving you faithfully. For Eleanor, raisins gave back more than sharper vision. They gave her the ability to keep creating beauty for her community, one quilt at a time. Now let's talk about dried apricots. They may not seem as exciting as exotic superfoods or flashy supplements, but don't underestimate them. These golden orange slices are like little lanterns of nutrition, glowing with compounds that feed your eyes exactly what they're hungriest for. Robert, a 70-year-old retired mechanic, came to me after a scare. He had always loved taking evening drives, his way of clearing his mind after a long day. But he confessed, "Doctor, I don't trust myself on the road anymore. The headlights blind me, and it feels like the whole road disappears when it's dark." For a man who had prided himself on his independence, this was devastating. He was on the brink of giving up driving at night altogether. Apricots became his turning point. Here's why. Apricots are rich in beta-carotene, the plant pigment that gives them their bright color. Inside the body, beta-carotene is converted into vitamin A, and vitamin A is the cornerstone of night vision. Without it, your eyes can't produce enough rhodopsin, a light-sensitive protein, in the rods of your retina. Think of rhodopsin like night vision goggles. Without it, your eyes struggle to adjust in the dark. With it, you can adapt quickly when headlights flash or when you step into a dim room. Robert's biggest challenge was exactly that. His eyes weren't adjusting. By adding just a handful of dried apricots a few evenings a week, he began giving his body the raw material to rebuild those night vision goggles. Within weeks, he noticed that oncoming headlights didn't overwhelm him as much. Slowly, his confidence returned. But apricots offer more than just beta-carotene. They also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, those powerful pigments we've mentioned before. These don't just help with glare, they actively reduce the risk of age-related macular degeneration, a condition that robs millions of seniors of central vision. By feeding the macula with these protective compounds, apricots help safeguard the very center of your sight, the part you need for reading, recognizing faces, and, yes, seeing the road clearly. Apricots are also a great source of potassium, a mineral often overlooked in eye health. Potassium regulates fluid balance, which in the eyes helps maintain stable intraocular pressure. This matters deeply for those at risk of glaucoma, a silent disease that damages the optic nerve. By supporting fluid regulation, potassium helps reduce stress on the delicate structures inside the eye. And let's not forget fiber. It might not sound glamorous, but the soluble fiber in apricots helps keep blood sugar stable. We've seen again and again how blood sugar swings can blur vision, especially overnight. A steady metabolism means steady vision. For Robert, who also had borderline diabetes, this was a bonus. I suggested he try a simple combination: 3 or 4 dried apricots in the evening with a square of dark chocolate. The chocolate not only made it feel like a treat, but its flavonoids improved blood flow to his eyes. It was a pairing that satisfied his sweet tooth and worked with his body rather than against it. The change in Robert wasn't just in his eyes, it was in his spirit. I took my wife out for an evening drive again, he told me, smiling. I hadn't done that in months. I felt like myself. That's the real gift these foods bring. Not just sharper vision, but the return of freedom, confidence, and joy. Apricots, in their unassuming way, can help light the road ahead, literally and figuratively. Now that we've walked through the unique gifts of figs, dates, raisins, and apricots, let's take a step back and imagine how to bring them together into one simple, powerful routine. Because knowledge is only as good as the habits we create. I like to call this practice the evening eye snack plan. It's not a diet. It's not a burden. It's a ritual, something small, repeatable, and nurturing that you can look forward to at the end of the day. Here's how it works. About an hour before bedtime, take a small plate and place on it 2 or 3 figs, 1 or 2 dates, a tablespoon or 2 of raisins, and 3 or 4 dried apricots. Pair them with a small handful of nuts or seeds. Almonds, walnuts, or sunflower seeds work beautifully. This isn't random. The healthy fats in nuts and seeds help your body absorb fat-soluble nutrients like vitamin A, lutein, and zeaxanthin more effectively. In other words, they act like a key turning the lock, allowing those vision-boosting compounds to enter your cells. And don't forget the simplest step of all, drink a glass of water with your snack. Dehydration is one of the quiet villains of eye health. Dry eyes, blurry vision, that scratchy discomfort. All of it can be worsened when the body's running low on fluid. By pairing your snack with water, you're not just hydrating your body, you're replenishing the natural tears that keep your eyes comfortable and clear. What makes this plan so powerful isn't just the nutrients, it's the timing. Evening is when your body enters repair mode. While you sleep, your cells are busy restoring themselves, clearing waste, and strengthening tissues. By feeding your body these specific fruits before bed, you're stocking the toolbox your eyes use for overnight repair. It's like giving the night shift workers in your body all the tools and fuel they need to fix what the day has worn down. Another important piece is rotation. Don't feel that you need to eat all 4 fruits every single night. Instead, think of it as a menu you can mix and match. Maybe one night you choose figs and raisins, and on another night, apricots and dates. This variety keeps things interesting, prevents boredom, and ensures you're getting a wide spectrum of nutrients across the week. For those who like rituals beyond food, I sometimes suggest adding a 5-minute eye rest to the routine. After your snack, dim the lights, sit in a quiet room, and close your eyes. Place a warm compress over them if you like, or simply let them rest in darkness. This practice signals to your body that it's time to wind down, reduces strain, and enhances the restorative power of sleep. The beauty of this plan is that it's simple, affordable, and realistic. You don't need exotic powders shipped from across the world. You don't need expensive supplements with labels you can't pronounce. You just need the wisdom of ordinary fruits, figs, dates, raisins, and apricots, brought together with intention. I've seen patients transform their evenings with this ritual. Some report fewer headaches, some notice sharper vision when waking, others simply enjoy the peace of having a routine that feels nourishing instead of restrictive. And what I love most is that it gives seniors back a sense of agency. Instead of fearing that their eyesight will inevitably fade, they see, literally, that they can take steps to protect and restore it. That's the promise of the evening eye snack plan. Small steps, taken consistently, that create big change over time. So here's what I want you to remember tonight. Figs, dates, raisins, and apricots are more than just sweet treats. They are nature's quiet healers, packed with the exact nutrients your eyes need to stay sharp, comfortable, and strong. Consistency matters more than quantity. One small evening habit can ripple into lasting protection for your vision. Growing older doesn't have to mean giving up clarity or confidence. It's never too late to nourish your body in ways that restore hope and independence. I'm Dr. Brian, and this is Ageless Garden. Let's keep building a healthier, brighter tomorrow together.